From MTN News, this is Montana This Morning.
I'm Gabby Crevitt, and coming up, we'll have all the latest details from the Gallatin City County Board of Health meeting on Wednesday morning.
Affordable housing is a major issue in Montana. I'll introduce you to a new company that's opening up here in Butte that says they have a practical solution to this big problem. Coming up.
A lovely look at your sunrise there at a 6:32 for you on this Thursday, May the 6th. Holly Brantley, Chet Lehman here, and we have been talking all morning about what a gorgeous day today is going to be.
It is going to be absolutely beautiful around southwest Montana. We're talking about lots of sunshine. Already pretty nice out if you take a look at the current conditions. In the 30s here in southwest Montana, mostly clear skies. I'm standing on the patio and bear that out. It's mostly clear skies here in tropical Four Corners. Shaping up today into the 70s, the low 70s as a matter of fact in the Bozeman area, with mostly sunny skies for Butte. We'll hit those low 70s as well under mostly clear skies. It'll be a little more breezy in Bozeman than it will be in Butte, but those breezes bringing in some change that's going to affect all of southwest Montana for your Mother's Day weekend. I have details of that forecast in about 10 minutes.
Thank you, Chet. The Gallatin City County Board of Health met Wednesday to discuss current local emergency rules meant to slow down the spread of COVID-19 in Gallatin County. MTN's Gabby Crevitt was at that meeting and has the latest update on the status of those rules.
Phase 2 reopening rules for businesses and face covering rules have been some of the most contentious discussions during Board of Health meetings over the last year. And on Wednesday morning, the Board of Health decided to take no action on these local emergency rules and allow them to expire this month. And here's why. As it stands now, the Phase 2 reopening rule is set to expire on Monday, May 10th, and the face covering rule will expire Thursday, May 27th. Health Officer Matt Kelly and Deputy County Attorney Aaron Arnold presented and took questions from board members on how recent bills out of the Montana legislature may prevent enforcement of local emergency rules designed to slow the spread of COVID-19 in Gallatin County.
So the impact of that is that there's no local control over public health decisions dealing with authority to adopt, extend, or enforce emergency health rules. And that meaningful control over public health rules is now in Helena with the governor and the legislature.
House Bill 121 was signed by Governor Gianforte and effectively strips away authority from local health boards, requiring approval from city and county elected officials to enforce local emergency rules made by the Board of Health. And House Bill 257, which the Gallatin City County Health Department expects Governor Gianforte to sign, now makes many questions about local government's authority to enforce local health rules unclear. Many Board of Health members expressed their deep concerns about what the bills could mean for the future.
Taking all of this and putting it in the hands of folks that don't have this background, may not have the interests of our county and our residents in mind. Frankly, we'll kind of see where the bodies fall. And I hate to sound dramatic, and that's not my intent, but it's I think it's not going to go well.
Before the meeting, we spoke with County Commissioner and Board of Health member Joe Skinner, who's been advocating to lift COVID-19 emergency rules for months. Skinner says while he believes restrictions should be lifted immediately, he thinks the legislature went a little too far.
I don't think the legislature realized the specifics of what was happening here with the city county board. You know, I don't think they foresaw that. So I just ask the public to be patient with us while we figure our way through this. It's not easy to figure out what the legislature meant for us to do.
Reporting in Bozeman, Gabby Crevitt, MTN News.
Now, Gabby tells us local emergency rules will remain in effect unless and until Governor Gianforte signs House Bill 257, which would mean local government no longer has the authority to enforce emergency health rules. Until then, Phase 2 reopening rules will expire next week, and the face covering rule is set to expire near the end of the month. According to the Deputy County Attorney, businesses may still ask customers to wear a mask or practice social distancing. However, those rules will be difficult to enforce. 6:36 now. We have continuing coverage of school bonds and levies. A majority of bonds and levies were voted in favor of, but some were voted against. Central Valley Fire and Belgrade School District both say they are ready to take their next steps after yes votes.
Having had this levy pass, that's going to allow us to potentially hire a few more firefighters and up our staffing back to where it needs to be.
Very grateful. There are so many people put in so much time, so much hard work, and it paid off. It's going to help us save some of the programs that we talked about that we would lose, and so how to best meet the needs of those programs and our students.
Now to Gallatin Gateway, our Annie Johnson spoke with the superintendent after 55% of voters decided against it.
We're incredibly disappointed. The purpose of the bond was because our systems in the school are failing. Our heating, all of those things are literally just breaking down. And so the bond not passing means now that we have to make some very, very hard decisions about how to spend money that we don't really have.
Superintendent Keel says they have to go back to the drawing board now and figure out the next step. Well, here's an update for you. Law enforcement has identified the human remains that were found at Big Arm State Park last November. Lake County Sheriff Don Bell says the remains have been identified as 37-year-old Miranda Rosie KENMILLE of Elmo. The sheriff says KENMILLE's death remains under investigation. Meantime, a new business is coming to Butte that builds small houses and believes it can be a part of the solution, however, to Montana's big affordable housing problem. John Amy has that story.
A company opening in Butte that builds small factory-built homes hopes to be part of the solution to Montana's growing affordable housing problem.
So we are trying to bring something to market that isn't there and create, some housing equity for people that are being shut out of the housing market and out of the rental market right now.
Foothold is a public benefit corporation that started in Bozeman and is opening in Butte's Montana Connections Park this summer. It builds modular homes in 6 sides from 600 square feet up to 1,800 square feet.
We aim to create a product that uses less waste. So creating something that can really efficiently utilize all of your cuts of lumber is great, saves you money.
Butte Chief Executive J.P. Gallagher said Foothold will be a benefit in Butte in dealing with affordable housing. He plans to hold future meetings to find more ways in dealing with this issue.
We want to make sure that we're addressing those needs ahead of time before that hits us and we're playing catch up. And I think we're seeing that in Bozeman. They're having to try to figure out how they can address those housing needs.
I spoke with the Butte Housing Authority and they said affordable housing is a major issue in Butte. In fact, they have clients on their waiting list for up to 1.5 years.
Like success for us looks like making tangible difference to Montanans and to people that live in Butte and to people that live in Deer Lodge and these, sort of small communities, and people aren't able to either enter the housing market and buy their first home, or they aren't able to, find a place to live at all.
Foothold plans to expand on that property and could hire up to 15 to 25 employees. In Butte, John Amy, MTN News.
Well, here's a closer look at the issue. According to the Public Housing Authority in Butte, more than 200 people are on waiting lists for public housing, more than 100 on waiting lists for Section 8 rental assistance, and as John told us, there is up to 1.5 year waiting list in general. Well, coming up here, we have a whole lot more news and weather for you ahead, including today's beautiful forecast. And this story, it's a bird, it's a plane, nope, it's just your milk and eggs. We will tell you about the latest solution for grocery delivery, a new species of spiders, and much more when Montana This Morning continues. But first, here's a look at what our friends are working on for us this morning at CBS This Morning.